We continue our notes with page 13, and to show you real quick where the notes are pointing to. 1. C 10.4, also D 4.16, Mu'at, MH Segal, page 63, Le Mu'at is not attested elsewhere. 10 is the smallest communal unit, Megillah 4.3. In Israel, some neighborhoods will try to pull you off the street if they don't find 10 people to show up to the prayer. R. Nehemiah, of 150, compares the judges with chiefs of 10 and Sanhedrin 1.6, C 10.4. The paragraph of Exodus 18.25, also D 2.21, the construction as in 1 Samuel 29.2. A compromise between Me'oth and Meyoth, Kathib 4 times in 2 Kings chapter 11, the Midrashic substitution, Koma Meyoth for Koma Meyuth. Does this Jen R 12.6 shows this to have been a popular form of Seed Aramaic Mawatha and the ancient Hijazi and modern colloquial Arabic singular Maya. Brockman 1.487. 2. More details in D 6.3, i.e. Yemish, just also D 6.3. So only Leviticus 21.9, but Myoma, Ishe, Kohen, that access controlling priest, Gadol, C 10.6, non and D, Genesis 41.40, 3 according to 70 VP Gen R 92. According to the Targums, this might well be an allusion to the priest precedence in eating and drinking, D 6.4.5, see Matthew 26, 26, 27, formed after the Aramaic baqi, which was borrowed into MH. CF 8.2, the laws. 4, see 1 Chronicles 24.7, used as here. D 6.16, 9.7, see D 5.3, an allusion to the Urim of Numbers 27, 21a. See the next note, but 1. Haurim Watumim were the probably fluorite scrying stones. They could be rolled, but then there'd be, a further context with them. Because they were 8-sided, so they could be used as dice, but they were kind of too fragile to use all the time in that way. CF 2, Numbers 27, 21b, here made into a perpetual law. However, the description of David's practice, Sanhedrin 15ab, Bit Barakoth 3b, Bot 6, C 6.14, so Sephra Tazria 1.9, even if he be an imbecile. And if somebody can lead the rituals, they can lead the rituals. They don't have to understand everything, much less nowadays people might say, "Oh, we'd like a rabbi who knows." It's like the rabbi doesn't even have all that much scripture memorized. All they need to do is to be able to read, and they can whatever. But you don't need all this Kabbalah and Talmud and stuff like this, it helps to not just be looking everything up fresh, but, and it helps to actually understand rather than just repeat other people's understandings too. Anyways, verse 7, see Deuteronomy 21:5. So Nagaim 3:1 to Neg 1:16 implies that a decision made by a priest alone is not valid. See 8:16. The following passage, unfortunately much broken, has the metrical structure and biblical diction of parts of the admonition of D 10 to 11 and so on. Daniel 11:33, C Maskil D 3:13, where also a sample of the teaching is offered. D 9:18, T MG 250, line 3 of God, frequently in D, T, MG 234, line 13, perhaps H 10:11, used just as here to Sanhedrin 7:8, see Daniel 12:3, and a quotation from Isaiah 53:11, 9:27, 11:33, 11:39, Esther 4:3, 70, they, the main body of the people, as opposed to the Hellenizers, Charles, among the Essenes, oi pleones, as opposed to the elders, just B 289. In sectarian usage, the members of all branches together, 14:9, as here the entire membership of one branch. In the New Testament of pleones occurs in this meaning in 2 Corinthians 2:16, parallel to DV 16, 4:15, probably also 1 Corinthians 9:19, was Dauba, Hector 40, 1947, page 19, has pointed out that passage is a close parallel of Pesikta, Rabatha 166b, where Uklasen masses stands in the same position as in P in Corinthians 8, CD 9:18, his wonderful mighty deeds, C 2:10, an unintelligible, probably corrupt word forming part of the missing hemistich has been connected with pter to solve or pert to set out in detail. Psalm 3:13. We're commenting on verse line 9 here. MT al-Banim, the paragraph of Ezekiel 34:16, the same verse used to describe the bishop's duties in Const Apostle 2:6-7. Now, I think that's supposed to be Ezekiel, because some of them you think it's like 4 letters, but you have 2 letters to abbreviate it. And see, we have even more letters, so I think it's supposed to be Ezekiel. The plural in the Targum also, const apost, MT singular attractive, is Lieberman's suggestion in MG 239 note to connect the word as written in the manuscript with Madheva, see Isaiah 14:4, which 70 P Sadea Bashabath 149b, but translated Urger, tax collector. So we might translate, he shall restrain Yeshbeth, their oppressive creditors. However, in T, MG 239, line 10, the word is parallel with Mehuma, see Abath 5:11, and thus means famine. So the paragraph of Ezekiel 34:12, where the root bakar occurs twice. And to show you where we're going to be commenting our notes on, 10, Isaiah 58:6, with LXX ohm. Explanation of Charzuboth, same as 70 Sundesmoy, next to the word explain as in 712, both words together, Schechter, Sladyana, page 6, line 17, paragraph of Hosea 5:11, common element, Ratzutz. The use of this verse 4:19 suggests that the terms were taken in the sense of deviation from the sect tenets, line 11, by transfer from another local group for neophytes, see 15:6. In D 6:13, the examining is done by the Pakid, a priest, according to Z 14:6. Only these two in D 5:23, 6:14, see D 5:21, 6:18 actions in the law. We have here the rub contrast of limud and mo'aseh, Aboth 1:17, 5:17 actions being the strictness of religious observance. See doers of the law H 8:1, 12:4, D 1:11. Their knowledge, their strength, and their property. 12, 14:4, D 5:23 were read. Hathavum of Darashu, line 20. Biblicizing substitute for a MH Haweya, verbal noun. Same letters as the tetragrammaton, right? Existent status condition, also D 4:18, 10:10, the place of his lot, D 2:23, CF D 1:10, 2:2, 2:5, 3:24, 4:24, T MG 2:39, line 7, Colossians 1:12, C Men of Truth H 7:10, 13, C Bene Ha'ir Citizens Megillah 3:1, C Exodus 21:8. We have the same phrase as D 6:26 and 14, C 2:2, MH the idiom, CF 6:15, i.e. other Jews 15, for MH Miyav, Layav, D 5:17, Be Metzir, the injunction only with regard to backsliders. Trade with Gentiles must have been impossible if 12:8-11 were observed. See 12:8, 14:16. Here perhaps a biblicizing substitute for MH Shetafut, MH the idiom 16, Nehemiah 10:1, Karatha, but Asa, Choza, Isaiah 28:15, 17, i.e. he must also get the overseer's permission first. Now, overseer, one of the words for overseer is a Nazi, but a Nashi is the thing we have here, so it's not given that connotation, right? Because Nazi is a lot more negative of a term than just a prince or something. MH usage, Migrash, common land, gives no sense. And Wehu, lets us expect that the word before is a verbal form. 18, the paragraph of Micah 6:8, 20, see 12:22, conclusion of the section, see the note on 12:19, 22, see 12:21, 23 after 7:9, see 7:9. See 7:11. Okay, and we have some notes to refer to here. We're on page 14 now. So note 1, Isaiah 7:17, also 7:11, MT le miyom. So on page 7, C 12:23, 2, Psalm 89:29, C 7:5, but Netzol 16:6, Getzelim each 12:14. The N is sporadically preserved in the Biblical Aramaic, Targumic, particularly before Z, and Chronicles Aramaic, but not in the MH manuscripts. This throws light on the scribe's mother tongue. Also T, MG 233, line 10, Pacha, Sh 239, line 12, Psalm of Solomon 427 maybe, perhaps the paragraph snares, that's not paragraph, perhaps snares of death, Sheol, Psalm 18:6, see the further 6:15, 5, the Proverbs 27:12, perhaps a reference to the foals of Judah, H 12:4, see further 4:11. Note that the Samaritans are called foals, Syriac 50:26, Naval, Moros, T. Levi 7:12, and foals appear as a class apart from sinners, Enoch 98:9, foals also MM, IH 3:24, but I cannot agree with Melik's rendering, which identifies them with the high places of Judah. Same source. With the Targum P. Sa'adah MT omits, but wow may be left over from the lost Averu 3, with administration of an oath, C 15:8, in D 219, 6:8, only 3 classes. The top items in the list, Kedushin 4:1, the Essenes had 4 classes according to the length of ascesis. Jos BJ 2, 8, 10. So D6, D2, bar 4. So D2, D6 elders of 9:4. See Numbers 2:16. D Hashaneth. D2, all the people. D4, all the rest of the people. C Sanhedrin 8:2. BH Shalishim. D2 Ba Shalisheth. Not in D for the separate geological registers for proselytes of C Yus His Eklet 1:7:10. C Rosenthal MGWJ 30, 1881, pages 118 to 123 on proselytes in the sect C 11:2. 6. Not only the Essenes sat in strict order by age, Philo quad omnis, probus 81, but also other Jews in their synagogues sat N cosmeps, C spec leg 261. Well, another way that Islam equalize things, if you show up first, you show up first, right? There's no, this is the family seat, or that, none of that. You show up and you fill up the first rows and the back rows first, and CD 6:2, 9-10, D 6:14, ha paqid, not specified as a priest. 7, restored after D 6:14, which excludes the otherwise attractive rendering who musters. See 10, 7, 10, 8, 10, 6, 9, D 6, 12. Note here, and in line 3, all the camps corresponds to the many in D, but the many of Z 13, 7 are dwellers of one camp. See also 15, 8, same word, W, as in quoted in MG 123, and in Sukanix. Note the form qatul with active perfective meaning is rare. BH, common MH, Segal, page 160, and very frequent in Piyut, Zuns, Synagogal, Poissy, page 422, 10 Genesis 10:5, divided as in 70 against MTV. The same was required of the members of the Sanhedrin 17AB, C22, 11, reading Yaba'u and Bethoro, Esther 2:12, and MH. This must be read D6:11, reading Yava'u and Bethro, Genesis 15:10. To show you, so you can pause or whatever. What we're going to comment on here. 12, C11:2, also D6:11, which is not concerned with the requirements of the many. 13, i.e. about 8%, hence not a tithe. With the Essenes, the sick and the elderly were cared for from the common property, not from a special fund. See Philo, Quod omnis probus, 87, literally for him who gives least. Well, everything counts, right? See MH, Echav, Ha, Mamit, Wa, Echav, Hamarbe, whether one gives, does little or much. The traces are not consistent with reading Le, Mu'at, as in 13:1. The Pe'el, BH Hitha, is common, MH, it means to give little. Baba, Bathra 8:5, 14. Ezekiel 16:49, also quoted 6:21, with same deviations from MT 15, i.e. for burial expenses from the word. See Numbers 20:29. See Genesis 4:12. Ginsburg begs. See Psalm 59:16, and so on, to redeem him, young woman about to marry, to provide the dowry. Thus, the word would be understood as unmarried woman, as does Isaiah 7:14, and the New Testament, Isaiah 32:17, since tzedakah, okay, so righteousness, or, that root also means Jupiter without the hay at the end, was an MH, charity. The Islam, it transferred into Arabic as sadaqah, and sadaqah is the charity, any charity. But of course they have the zakat to distinguish that. The obliged versus the MH, Chever, the organized community. See Shurer 503, note in Ba Megillah 27a, it administers charity money. See also 12:8, 17, solemn conclusion of section as 12:19-23. Note that Parush, see 6:14, takes here the place of Sirach in 12:19, 12:23, D 9:11, and so on. Ginsburg avoids attributing a forgiving of sins to the Messiah by restoring until God sends the Messiah of. So yeah, the Messiah doesn't. Messiahs don't do that. It's God that does that, and maybe just like Muhammad and some others could tell people, hey, you're going to get paradise hereafter, because only so many people could handle it. It's obviously a lot more, but some people it would affect their deeds if they were told that, and it'd be a burden beyond what they could bear and all that sort of stuff, right? Note also the elsewhere is keper in Z. Okay, 20, similar language in D, 625, but the traces are not consistent with reading either Schechter, as in D, or La Mevacter. I'm being the template here. 21, no punishment in D is less than 10 days. 22, CD 7-8. In D, the first scribe wrote 6 months, corrected subsequently to 1 year. Does this indicate a change in regulations? And starting with line 1 of page 14, the lacuna must have contained mentions of other formula, possibly including limited use of the divine name D627 to 71, who mentions the honored name in connection with any property and gang. But if he cursed, the words "and if he cursed" follow a very similar set of regulations forbidding partly the same substitute terms. Shabu'oth 4:13. Note that the sect was stricter than Philo, who encouraged use of substitutes. Like 2:4-5. These latter names were not used in Tannaitic times. See Tur, Sinai, Hadashon, Sefer 271. Though they were originally Semitic, Driver Semitic writing 152. In D 10:4, the letter N equals 50 is the key to the calendar of his mercy. Only N is written pronounced probably Na, Tur, Sinai, like. Hence, the names here may be due to the medieval copyist. And start on another page here. The restoration is consistent with the traces. Read Heskem, MH, Heth, Il, verbal noun. This seems the same as the rabbinic Sh, Heseth, eliciting oath. Baba, Metzea, 5a, and so on. Line 2, C 9:12. Such an oath is mentioned in Jubilees 9:14. It was current in Gaonic times. See Ginsburg, Gaonica 254, 147 to 148. Such an oath is mentioned in Ginsburg, LC. Same use, D627. Line 3, Leviticus 19:12. MT, the name of thy God. 7:11. See the honored name, D627, and MH, Hashem, God. Like Sanhedrin 6:4. And remember, the whole thing is it's not that you don't use the name, it's you only use it in religious connection, right? And, the my God, their God sort of thing is like, well, it's all the same God, right? But it's a way of speaking that directs the consciousness involved in the whole thing. If you say my God, it's confessing it. There's some ambiguous things elsewhere, but 4, C 9:10, the use of the word. 9:12. Does it mean he must bring a guilt offering? See 9:13. Expiation by repayment, also Sanhedrin 4:5. The same phrase is apparently hidden. Yan Omol Og Hassas Matan Ahsa Tagad 6:3, where the translator misread Yashuv or Yashiv. 5. The death penalty for false oaths in Philo. See Belkin, Philo, and Oral Law, page 144. Well, in Islamic law, it's, let's just say 80% of the penalty. But, if you're lying to get people killed and all that sort of stuff, think of the people in the media who actually aren't just reading on a script. How horrible some, they think, oh, I didn't actually kill anyone myself. It's like, in American law, if you lie and get somebody sent to prison, you can be charged with manslaughter if they get killed. And Schechter Rabin 131a, early Karaites, Revelations page 61, 62, but comparison with 11:23 suggests the sect meant only death by the hand of heaven. Kareth, the plural predicate after kol with a singular participle, also 8:19, 29, 12:17. This is a sentence with a double cause. Condemns, i.e., extraposition of both subject and object. Cases of this kind occur in the Ethiopic of Enoch, for example, 101:9, where they may well derive from the Hebrew original, thus revealing one more stylistic link between Z and the pseudepigraphic 6, i.e. 20 years of 10:1 and 2, as against this the Essenes took only full-grown men inclining towards old age. Philo, quote, Yusib Prap Evenge 8:11:3. That's obviously too big of a name to expect everybody to remember. The Karaite Daniel al-Qamisi, 9th through 10th century of the Common Era, exempted youths under 20 years of age from religious observances. See Nimoy, page 31. Pe'el of Esther 9:21-31. Note that the Targum Unk on Genesis 24:37 translates We Yashbe'em by We Qayem Ale. In D5:8, this oath is called Shavu'ath Isar, thus Z7:8 may refer to the same oath. This term, as also lines 9 and 12, suggest a vow to keep the law, not the terrible oaths of secrecy of the Essenes, Josephus B.J. in 2:8-7. See perhaps Rabbi Akiba and Abath 3:17. Vows are offense for Pereshuth 7, a play of words on Bene Hasha Chath 6:15, and so on, to whom the neophyte had hitherto belonged. 8, also D6:12, i.e. the overseer of all camps. See the note on 14:9. 9 used in M.H. Segal, page 202, are read Zloth, but here would then be more appropriate. Occurs in Joshua, 2 Kings, Malachi, Nehemiah, and M.H. Deuteronomy 6:5, same phrase. D 5:8-9, Z 16:1-2, with turn to me, Jubilees 1:15, line 10. See D 9:13-20 and the abbreviated formula D19596281 Z 15:13 for the meaning of find. Compare 6:19-11. See the Essene secrecy about the rules, BJ 287 for the meaning of the word. See 1219 and the note. And, we're talking about line 11 here. MH, Shema, Segal, page 147, spelled here as Shalamah, Canticles 1:7. The Song of Solomon, i.e., the examination of his understanding. 13:11 produces a negative result. The verb means to behave like a fool. In a first century passage, Reuben 65a, see Midrash, Judicial Examination 26, D 624. And look real quick where we're going to state our notes with. 13, C 2028. The restoration is somewhat uncertain as the traces suggest at the end of the lacuna, aleph are tada rather than ein. If correct, we have here an MH verb. For example, abath 320, 4-5, C 916, C line 10. So the last page. 14, C MH, shawin be, a plural, agreeing on. This may also explain the enigmatic "they were not alike" of the giants, Jubilees 7:22, as a mistranslation of the Hebrew, which really meant they disagreed with each other. 15, C 10:4. We have the same phrase, D 6:17, which is Leviticus 24:30. The same men who reformed the criminal in 24, apparently a kind of judicial executive body, probably in the same sense as 13:12, Hosea 9:7, which suggests that the passage deals with those that spread false teachings, as opposed to the antinomian 12:2, 17, C 12:6, quotation from a sectarian book, perhaps Jubilees 2:15-9, MH to study closely to inquire for the form, le fanahu, D 6:26, Elihu, D 5:25, similar errors, 5:8, D 1:21, 5:21, 9:14, paraphrastic genitive, with anticipation 2:9, same image, Enoch 89:32, 89:74, 93:8, and so on. Blindness of the eyes among terms for stubbornness, D 4:11. See also 1:9, 3:14, 3 C 8:2, the exact observance of the laws. Similar title in the prologue to the Jubilees, since the book has been found to have existed in the Ein Feshka cave. There is no doubt that Jubilees is meant. 5. Prince Mastema, Jubilees 11:5, 17:6, 18:9, and in the Hebrew book of Noah, elsewhere in Jubilees, Mastema alone, for angel equals prince, T Simeon 2:6, where prince of deceit in Greek, angel of deceit in Armenian, also Enoch 6:3, where Ethiopic has Malak, where the doubtlessly correct archon of the Greek text. Mastema occurs as a common noun, D 3:23, but as is the noun pronoun is peculiar to Jubilees and DSL. Pe'el of Ezra 13:6, Psalm 119, 106, common MH, the MH 6, the MH form, Segal, page 79. Ginsburg suggested Netzal, but this form explains better how the copyist erred. Allusion to Jubilees 12:20 and equivalent to Deuteronomy 23:24. This is a case of Gezerah, Shawah, since Motzah, Sephathaim occurs here, and Numbers 30:13. The regulations of Deuteronomy 23 apply also to cases in Numbers 30, thus permitting release from vows for men as well as women. See 7:8. And double check before we go further that this is our last page in the book here. 7, added to make the sense of observance clear. See Numbers 30:14, Deuteronomy 5:8, Z 7:8. 8 literally redeem in this use, not recorded elsewhere. See Sir 4:28 until death. Joseph B. J 2:8-7. Ka'i an Makri Thanatu Tis Biazhate of the Essenes, perhaps also Psalm of Solomon 16:6. Per Metcher, see the meaning limit in TMG 250, line 9, perhaps read so. Also for Bumtir D33, he will not be just as price for the stubbornness of his heart. Keeping a vow until death is presupposed. Nedarim 237b. The rabbis were against all vows if one vows it, as if one had built a bama. If one fulfills the vow, it is as if one had sacrificed upon it. Nedarim 22a and so on. But the Shema'its allow no remittance of a binding oath. The 28a, perhaps expressing a popular feeling also prominent in Jubilees 31:29 and preserved among the earlier Qaraites, Ravel, page 81. It is no doubt a reference to the last named when Maimonides' code Sheva'oth 12:12 brands a hesitation to have oaths remitted as a trace of heresy, Menuth, but he himself cautions against seeking remission. 9. Sobm Madarim 2:2 Ned Arim 1:4. Oh, maybe it's not Nedarim. Such oaths may be hinted at in Psalm of Solomon 8:11, C 8:2, note 1 at the end, and oath to sin, also Enoch 6:9. 10, Numbers 39, but there's only Nether and Isar occur. The only Shibu'ah occurs in chapter 40 in verse 3, and Yam is see as a purse, not as here, also Ak, Re, hence the saying in this form is perhaps from a sectarian source, like 9:9. If this is right, then the two citations prove that work to have consisted of short maxims suitable for learning by heart. The book of the Hagu, 10:6, immediately comes to mind, but that seems to have been a work for the learned only, while the very way in which our two maxima are interpreted shows them to have been generally known. See also 12:20. One of the important things is that you have some basis. And it's like, okay, the scriptures are for everybody. Some of the commentaries, it's like, if people can't focus on the revelation, then sometimes, there's you just don't go so far with even the accounts of inspiration, much less the history and all that stuff. I mean, it's a good idea to have some of it, but 11, see line 7, 13, perhaps Job 31:7. According to the Western Kethiv 70 took the allusion to it, 8:4, but Kere proves that it was applied to such practices. Explanatory addition, MH, ness, to take forcibly, to force, perhaps a comment on Isaiah 61:8. See Besukha 30a, Philo, spec leg 1, 204, and Tanchuma, edited Buber, Zhao 2, demand from the offerer of a burnt offering of a declaration that he has never unjustly acquired anything. It's important not just light incense, but put some meaning to it, or that sort of thing. The Targum renders Minshath Shao as a 113 by Minshath Anissa 14. If correctly restored, this may refer to events like Josephus' Antiquities 28:8 to Manachoth 13:18, H 12:9-10, 15. The restoration is by Haberman. Apparently, the practice mentioned in Matthew 15:5, MK 7:11, the explanations and parallels in Struck Billerbeck 1:711, Micah 7:2, so 70. MT has his brother, C 620, a play on the double sense of cherem, a trap, a snare, or vow, and interesting that it's spelled the same, right? If you're sworn to do something wrong, and you realize it, you don't have to keep to those oaths.